An infamous cold case is getting a new spotlight tonight. The National Museum of Crime and Punishment is adding the Natalee Holloway case to its Unsolved Crimes exhibit. Britt McHenry was there and spoke to Natalee's mother, Beth, about the continued search for her daughter.
Tearing open the wrapping of a new poster, the National Crime and Punishment Museum unveiled another addition to its cold case wall. It's been 4 years since high school student Natalee Holloway disappeared in Aruba during spring break. Without any recent leads, the FBI has defined the crime as a cold case, one that's been stopped in the investigation process and has yet to be solved.
There are a lot of unsolved cases out there, and there are a lot of families that want their loved ones' name mentioned, even if it's just mentioned in the media. And I hope in some way that Natalee's case represents a lot of families.
America's Most Wanted host John Walsh was there for the poster's unveiling. No stranger to family tragedy, Walsh spent 27 years trying to find out what happened to his missing son.
The not knowing is the worst. The not knowing. Parents want to know what happened to their child.
Motivated by that experience, he created the National Crime and Punishment Museum a year ago, hoping its exhibits will bring an end to all the open-ended crimes.
Hope that this poster in the National Crime and Punishment Museum will keep your hope alive, and hopes alive that someday we'll know what happened to Natalee Holloway.
Walsh says that 70% of all abduction cases have been solved because of media attention. In the newsroom, Britt McHenry, News Channel 8.
Still ahead on
a cold case that captured the world's attention is back in the spotlight tonight. May 30th, 2005. Natalee Holloway disappeared on the last day of her high school graduation trip in Aruba. Today in D.C., her unsolved case was added to an exhibit at the National Museum of Crime and Punishment, where America's Most Wanted is taped live each week. Natalee's mother and AMW host John Walsh sat down with Fox 5's Will Thomas.
It's just hard to believe that after 4 years, well, it has been 4 years this month, that there would still be continued interest in Natalee's case.
Beth Holloway. Her daughter's disappearance in Aruba made news around the world.
In some way, I hope that Natalee's case can represent a lot of these young adults that are missing and most likely have been murdered.
4 years later, the case that caused a media sensation is making news again. The National Museum of Crime and Punishment in Northwest Washington just added Natalee's case to its Unsolved Crimes exhibit. Tourists do seem to have a connection.
Our daughter was 15, trying to look like she's 20, and had walked away from our table, and unbeknownst to us, some man had come up to her and asked her if she wanted to go to Tokyo with him. So it scared me a lot, and he could have easily taken her. We wouldn't have known.
Beth Holloway says she often feels guilty that Natalee's case gets so much attention while other families, still waiting for answers, don't get the spotlight.
And the guilt comes from, I have so many families that I've been speaking with over the past 4 years that are in the same position as I am.
She shouldn't have any guilt. She is the reason that this case is still going forward.
John Walsh attended the exhibit unveiling. The host of Fox's America's Most Wanted knows the agony of losing a child and waiting for answers.
Today we know.
More than 2 decades after their 6-year-old son was killed, the Walsh family learned a deceased drifter was responsible for the murder and beheading of Adam.
Finding him murdered so horribly was unbearable, but at least that ended the chapter of our life.
Beth Holloway is still waiting.
The real hope, and I don't get caught up in a fantasy hope, but the real hope is that hopefully we will find at least recovery of her body.
With no leads, the murder of Natalee Holloway remains a cold case. In Washington, Will Thomas, Fox 5 News.
Now to
Welcome back. A museum exhibit highlighting the Natalee Holloway case opens in the district today. This case is being added to the National Museum of Crime and Punishment's Unsolved Crime section. The FBI considers her disappearance to be a cold case and with very few leads. This month will mark 4 years since she disappeared while vacationing in Aruba.
The attorney for